Hello everyone, this is Haley from Cartooniverse, and today I finally get the chance to talk about a theory from the second season of Voltron, Legendary Defender. One of the two theories I did after watching the first season of the show centered around the theory of if Shiro would die in season 2, and the answer we got to that is probably not. Well, it's complicated, and while we don't know Shiro's exact fate, we do know that he's in fact most likely still alive. If you remember at the end of the last episode of season 2, appropriately titled Blackout, after a battle with Zarkon, the lions were torn apart and damaged. The Black Lion and Shiro were unresponsive, so the team went to go and retrieve them, and when they did, they saw that Shiro was nowhere to be found. While Shiro is currently missing in action, it would make little sense if we never saw him again. But the question remains, where did Shiro go? This is not something we have seen characters do in the show before, so him disappearing like this is extremely unusual. But I have a few theories on what may have happened, and where he might have gone. One thing a few fans have noticed is that the official merchandise for the show reveals some details about the lions that were previously not known. We learned about Pidge and Lance's weapons prior to them being revealed in season 2 because of the toys, and it seems the packaging for a Black Lion toy may have hinted at something that was not explicitly stated in the show. So as you can see here, the Black Lion's primary attack method is the Rings of the Wraith, which by the way brings up questions as it is. Looking up the word Wraith, it can mean a ghost or ghost-like image of someone, especially one seen shortly before or after their death, or a wisp or faint trace of something. In other words, these are the wings of the ghost, which perfectly describes both Shiro and the Black Lion in their current states. There is an amazing meta written by Small Sarcastic Raspberry explaining about how similar these two are, and how they saved each other. I'll provide a link to the meta in the description below, and I definitely recommend checking it out. As these two currently are, they could be seen as ghosts of their current selves, because of the battles they fought in their past, which perfectly describes the weapon. The Black Lion is a ghost, or wraith, and so is Shiro. Taking this a step further, what if there was some consequence for using this weapon? Especially for those inexperienced with it, there may be side effects, such as literally turning the user into a ghost. A wraith is usually seen right before the death of someone, as the definition states, which would not be good news for Shiro. I'm not saying that Shiro turned into a literal ghost or went to the ghost zone from Danny Phantom, but you never know. Continuing on, there's also one more thing to note on the toy that was not directly said in the show itself. In battle mode, this line has the power of teleportation, which has yet to be mentioned in this series. It is possible that the Black Lion, noticing that its paladin was hurt, teleported Shiro to somewhere safe while leaving itself behind. But I don't think that's exactly the case. If you notice in the final episode of season 2, Shiro finally gets the Black Bayard. The way that he does this is literally by stealing it out of Zarkon's hands. And while it is not entirely clear what happens at this moment, it seems as if the Black Lion teleports through Zarkon to allow Shiro to grab the weapon. So perhaps something much more complicated than teleportation occurred. Probably one of my favorite theories, although it is a bit out there, has to do with a reference to an anime series. As I have mentioned before, the source material for the 80s Voltron show was an anime known as Beast King Go Lion, so to see the creators put in Easter eggs to an anime is no surprise. But what if they took it one step further and actually used a plot point from a show and inserted it into the story? I think that'd be pretty cool. And the anime I am talking about is Neon Genesis Evangelion. Now this show has made a few references to this anime before, so the following theory does have a chance of being true. At one point in the series, the main character Shinji achieves a 400% synchronization rate with his Evangelion unit, the cybernetic being he pilots. Such a high level of synchronization was thought to be impossible, and the consequence of this was that Shinji turned into LCL, the fluid used to connect the pilots to the Evangelion units. Eventually he returned from being stuck inside the unit and was essentially reborn. So what if something similar happened to Shiro? He could have reached the highest bond possible between Lion and Paladin, and got absorbed into the Lion, and could have either become the Lion itself, or maybe even quintessence. We know that the Black Lion is able to mess with Shiro's mind and take him places, as seen in Space Mall. And the two have a really strong bond, perhaps the strongest out of all the Paladins, with Keith coming in a close second with the Red Lion. For this sort of situation, there might be nothing the other Paladins could do, so it might be up to Shiro to get himself out of this situation. And I have a few more possibilities about where Shiro might be. While I don't think there would have been enough time for this, there's a slight chance that someone could have grabbed Shiro and took them into their ship. If this was an ally or someone we've yet to meet, then Shiro could be safe. But if the Galra got him, more torture may be in store for him. The final option I have for this video is the possibility that Shiro is in another dimension. And I think the first piece of evidence should be this line from Shiro's birthday celebration livestream. In it, Josh Keaton, his voice actor, says this about Shiro's current whereabouts.
It's gone.
Ironically enough.
Yeah, it's like it's in another dimension.
Yeah.
Or not here.
Lost in the void. Yeah.
The way he says the "or not here" almost made it seem like he was trying to cover the first part of the sentence up. This could mean that Josh said something that he was not supposed to, and with this slip up, we could be looking at the answer to our question. But what type of dimension is this? Perhaps it's just a plain and simple other dimension, like those from Star vs. the Forces of Evil. Or, by another dimension, they're referring to the astral plane. He was there before during his fight with Zarkon in Space Mall. Or, even going further out there, what if Shiro ended up in an alternate reality? This is something that Slav talked a lot about, and we know that Shiro was not happy about Slav's ramblings, but because of this, it may hold some importance. And if he is in an alternate reality, what type? It could be a situation where Shiro has a normal life and has to deal with being back on Earth, despite having memories of everything that happened. Or for something pretty interesting, Shiro ends up in the 80s Voltron, where instead of Shiro, he is Seven, and Keith is the leader of the group. 12 episodes from the 84 series are now on Netflix, so this would be a cool way to give thanks to this older show. And while I do think it is likely that Shiro will end up in another dimension, there really is no way to say exactly what situation he'll be in, because there are so many options. Whatever situation, if Shiro does indeed end up in another dimension, something that I have seen quite a few fans speculate about is that it will take Keith and Lance working together to save Shiro. The specifics of this would be for another video, but them doing something like this would certainly help strengthen their bond as teammates. So I want to know, fans of Voltron, what do you guys think? You can either write your opinions in the comments down below, or join the Cartoon Universe Discord server. I'm much more likely to respond to you there, and it is a great place to talk to others about the show. A code to the server will be provided in the description. And that pretty much covers up things for this video. For my next Voltron theory video, I think I'll talk about Keith's family, which will definitely be interesting. At this point, it seems the only characters I really talk about are Keith and Shiro, which honestly isn't much of a surprise considering that Season 2 was pretty much all about them. As always, many thanks to my several awesome Patreon supporters. For a shoutout, exclusive videos, stickers, and more, become a patron by checking out the Patreon page. Thanks for watching!